Hello, my name's Duncan and welcome to Back Away from Donkey and Back Books. Today we're doing a tag, as it's Tag Tuesday, which I think I'm releasing this video on. Hopefully, if it's not on Tuesday and I release it somewhere else, it's Tag whatever that day is. This is, sorry, I've got this, the Reader's Profile tag. And I was tagged by Gavin at Genre Books, and it was originally done by Hilary Green from Book Bustle. Afraid I don't know that channel, but I will go and check that out. And I think everybody else should do as well. So it's called the Reader's Profile tag, as I said. So there is 10 prompts plus a tag one, and I've only briefly looked at these. So I might have a couple of examples with me, but other than that, we'll see what we're doing. Okay, so the prompts. What makes a good book? What paper makes a good book, really? Nice bit of paper, nice cover. But it can depend for me. If you're talking fiction, it's very difficult to tell. I think that's an impossible question because it depends on the genre, it depends on the type of book. So I'm going to be wishy-washy and say paper makes a good book. Oh, you're scratching. My little Sharpay in the corner, she's scratching herself. Are you? Lilu. Anyway, but yes, so I'm sort of going to bail out on that question because it's an impossible question. Because it depends on the type of book. What are you currently reading? Well, I'm reading a shed load of short stories on overpopulation, which, if you've been following, you know why. And included in that, I am now on the second story in this, the second novella in this, which is Ladies' Day. I read This Crowded Earth, which was the overpopulation one, and now on Ladies' Day, Robert Bloch. Not read much Robert Bloch before. This Crowded Earth was interesting, but it wasn't overly, wasn't badly written, and it's a story I'd read again, but not really my favourite of the sort of overpopulation ones I've read. It got a bit too sci-fi, which sounds weird as somebody who's a fan of science fiction, but it did. But I'm reading Ladies' Day anyway, so that's quite interesting. So yeah, that's what I'm reading, that and loads of overpopulation stories. Lots of I think Miriam Allen Ford I'm loaded on, Robert Silverberg, some Harry Harrison obviously, and basically anybody I can find. And then the next question is, what's the last book you didn't finish and why? I cannot remember because I generally do not finish books. I will go through to the end, even if it takes me years to read the book. It'll still be sat there, still won't be technically not finished. My reasoning behind this is because I've had books come together in the last 100 pages or even less, and they suddenly make total sense to me. And I've decided to like them. A good example of that is if you go to my overpopulation bin, Jamie Mollart's Kings of the Dead World is a very, very grim book. Wasn't overly keen on it when I was reading it, and then I got to about the last 50 or so pages, and it sort of came together, and I decided that I actually liked it. So I think if you abandon too early, I'm not saying you should never do not finish. That's a personal choice. I personally don't. But I think when people who say if it doesn't grip them after 100 pages, I think they could be missing stuff. So yes, I've got a book of Greek short stories, science fiction short stories, that I have been reading for 2 years and I'm still not finished because I just sort of dip into it occasionally. So yeah, generally I do not finish. Probably last one I didn't finish. I said I really can't remember. Anyway, so question 4. What obscure book do you wish that other people would read? It was nominated for the Hugo Nat, but it's obscure now. And I've read it and I adore it, and I think everybody should read it, and I think it's an absolute masterpiece. And it's Wilson Tucker's The Year of the Quiet Sun. Not easy to find, but find it because it is an absolute masterpiece. And also, I'd like somebody else who'd read it to talk to them about it. Because nobody else has read it. But I think it's an absolute masterpiece. What's the longest book you've ever read? Does anatomy and physiology textbooks count? I've read enough of those. Talking normal books. Can't remember how long Lord of the Rings is, but then I would count that as 3 books. I think 1,000 pages seem to be around normal stuff. Some Alistair Reynolds is normally about 1,200 pages-ish. Count of Monte Cristo, no idea how long that is. Don Quixote, I think that's about 1,200 pages. Something like that, anyway. That's sort of about average. Question 6. If you had a dinner party with 5 fictional characters, who would they be? Okay, I've got no idea. I have absolutely trying to think off the top of my head. Who would they be? They'd be a bunch of hobbits, because we'd have good food and have fun. That's it. Bunch of hobbits. Let's answer that question. Number 7. 5 books you want if stranded on a desert island. Okay, I didn't even know this question was here, so this is off the top of my head. Okay. I would go for The Lord of the Rings, because it's just great read, and you can read it backwards and forwards. I would also go for, I think it needs to be books you can reread, as far as I'm concerned. So it would be, I'd probably have an Asimov book in there, because I like to reread his. So which ones would I do? Probably go for something like The Robots of Dawn, I think. Another 3 slots. Bookshelf across there. Got some big books over there. Collection of short stories. I would do. I got a couple of anthologies of science fiction short stories that I would do. One of those. 4th one. It's actually quite a difficult question to do off the top of my head. From Gene Wolfe, it would probably be Gene Wolfe. It would be A Devil in a Forest, because it's just a one-off story. Because obviously, the Book of the New Sun is not a complete book, separate one. And I've got one more slot, and I will go for a travel book, which would be Michael Palin's Around the World in 80 Days, because hey, he talks about nice places, and it's like stuck in this era. So yeah, I think I did 5 then. If you hear grunting in the background, that's Lilu, the Shar-Pei there, the little wrinkly girl, grunting because my blind's open so everybody can see. One book you could not put down. There's many books I've not been able to put down. The first time I ever read Lord of the Rings, which was when I was at school, I literally read that in about 2 or 3 days, which was ridiculous. Book I've read recently I couldn't put down. The Wheel of Time, the Eye of the World. I had problems putting that down because I really enjoyed that. And that's the ones that come off the top of my head. 5 books or authors you will never read. I find it difficult to say never, but I couldn't. 5 books or authors, books I would never read. Self-help books, wouldn't go anywhere near them, because yeah, I think they're all nonsense. But even writers I don't like, I may read stuff. Who would I never read? I don't think there's really anybody I would say I would never read. There's some I'd have my reservations about. And I don't think you can really judge it until you read it, can you? So, yeah, that's a difficult one. But yeah, I would say generally, I would, if it appeals to me, or even if I need to, I would probably read most things. Sorry, I know it's a pretty bad answer, but it's the best one I can come up to. If you were to write a book, what would it be about? Well, as with a lot of booktubers, I'm already writing stuff. I've been writing short stories for quite a few years. Never actually shown, I don't think I've ever shown anybody them. I'm trying to put one into a novel, which I'm probably not going to tell you what it's about. But also I've got another book idea. If you watch my podcast, Mine and Al's podcast that's going to be released this week, might be on the same day as this. There's a mention in there that Al suggested something that I'm actually seriously considering. So that's a little sort of Easter egg for you to go and find out. But But yeah, I am seriously considering that. But yeah, but fiction books, it was, yeah, I'm writing, the one I'm trying to develop at the moment is a fantasy type thing. I've written quite a few science fiction short stories and general stuff. I don't think I'm probably no good, but do it because I like it. And one day I might publish them up on my blog. So yeah, that's about it. And so it's tag a few people. No idea who's been tagged in this before, so I will just put some names that I'll tag down below if you've not been tagged before, or anybody else, just come and do this. So I'll just, yeah, tag about 4 or 5 people down, and you may or may not do it. I'm starting to ramble a bit today. I'm saying about today. But anyway, I will speak to you all very soon, and I'm going to go off and quickly edit this, because Sunday, and I want to get this up for this evening, this one. Actually, I don't want to get this up this evening, I want to get this up for Tuesday, don't I? So I'm not worried about this one. It's the other one I did before this. I really am rambling now, so I think I need to go. Anyway, you all have a good day, and I'll speak to you very soon. And remember, go and investigate that podcast. Find out what Al suggested to me. Anyway, bye-bye.